Mystery Science Theater 3000 that came out last week. I got to see a few of the episodes. It was a nice Holomoya treat. Now I didn't have very high hopes when I heard about this. I first actually heard about the new Mystery Science Theater from Joel Hodgson himself. There's another video I have, Monster Bash, a few years ago, 3 years ago, and Joel Hodgson was there. It was a crazy thing because he remembered my wife and I. We saw him at Cinematic Titanic and got his autograph then, and then he engaged us so well with the kids and everything. And there's a very nice video you can find on my YouTube channel where he's doing a magic trick with my kids. It was just amazing. A very special person, very nice person, and we were exhausted. We just drove all the way out to Pittsburgh, and it was a kind of a surreal experience. And he said to me, Joel said, we're making a new Mystery Science Theater 3000. That was 3 years ago, so he was already thinking about that. He was already putting in the works then, and now it's finally come to fruition. And the way he said it, kind of sarcastically, he's like, I'm sorry to be the one to break the news to you, And it was quite a thing, this new show. Again, my feeling was, it's not going to be good. I remember, and even, I had seen, after I heard that they picked Jonah Ray to be the host, I looked into who's this Jonah Ray guy is. I didn't much appreciate his humor. It didn't seem to fit right with me for some reason, even though, on the other hand, there were so many things that I should feel, affinity to Jonah Ray, because, he's a fanboy of Mystery Science Theater, of Weird Al, of all these things that I also enjoy. Just something didn't sit right, but I remember I tweeted something. I was like, this is going to be a Poochie experience, and the comic book guy, on The Simpsons, he says, worst episode ever. And that was what I was anticipating. And Jonah Ray saw that, and he commented something like, to the flip side, to the extreme, or whatever that Poochie said on the show, on The Simpsons. And alright, that started to endear me a bit to it, to the idea, opened me up to the idea. And then we were looking forward with some trepidation, some expectation that, what's going to be with this new Mystery Science Theater 3000? And my wife was probably looking forward to maybe more than I was, but then when it came out, they were keeping a secret which movies would be used in the episodes and so forth until it came out and everything. And when it came out and we finally saw it, it wasn't just I was pleasantly surprised. These were exactly back on track the way Joel had them, just somebody new. But it was really a wonderful, wonderful surprise of just how good these episodes were. And the funny thing about it was, I mentioned back that episode of The Simpsons with Poochie, and comic book guy says worst episode ever, and then Bart or Lisa, I don't remember, one of them says to him, he's like, they gave you all of these hundreds of, maybe thousands of hours of entertainment, and they never charge you anything. What right do you have to complain? Here, we paid for it, The community of fans of the show got together on Kickstarter, made the biggest Kickstarter campaign in the brief history of Kickstarter, and they really delivered. And I'm very thankful to all the people behind this new Mystery Science Theater for actually creating such a good product that's just so well done. I didn't see every episode yet, obviously, but I did see quite a few. And first of all, I was very happy with the movies that he picked. I on Twitter, I said to Brandon Tenold, Brandon Tenold has been getting a lot of copyright flags, which are totally undeserved, because everything he's doing is within the rules of fair use. He's a film critic. I mean, that's what greater fair use is there than a film critic to use, scenes from the movies. But he's been hit with copyright notices on. He had videos taken down. He had his whole channel taken down once. And I said to him, you should say something to the people at MST, because it seems like they stole your ideas. But either that, or maybe you were a consultant. But if not, maybe you should hit them with a copyright infringement, because there was so many of movies that he had reviewed, particularly earlier in his channel, and he said, well, great minds think alike. But the choice of the movies were just wonderful, wonderful choices. The ones that I saw particularly, I'm so happy with, because I really have enjoyed these movies before. Reptilicus is the first one, and they have in that Reptilicus episode just a great musical number that really, once again, harkens back to the old MST with the musical numbers. I'm hoping they're going to come out with a CD of Clowns in the Sky Part 3, because these music numbers have just really hit the spot. This one about every country has a monster and every monster has a country is really, really a great musical number. And that was on the Reptilicus. And again, Joel wrote on Twitter, he says everyone should watch the episodes on Netflix, because then Netflix will help them out for the next season. Because apparently that's how the rating system, even though they made a joke that there's no ratings on Netflix, there really is. But then the other movies that they picked, I didn't watch yet Star Crash, but that's one of Brandon Tenold's favorites. But I did watch Land That Time Forgot, which is again one of his, he's big into the Doug McClure dinosaur movies. And that's really, and there's actually two of them on this season. There's Land That Time Forgotten. There's also At the Earth's Core, which I'm looking forward to. I haven't watched that yet. So again, those three movies are all Brandon Tenold's movies. Reptilicus, I really enjoyed that. Looking forward to watching The Time Travelers. I saw that movie on Amazon. I was quite impressed by that. Or maybe it was on Netflix. But so again, I'm looking forward, really enjoying it. Highly recommend it. And the other thing that I love about it is, so far from what I've seen, I can't vouch for everything that's been on, it's been extremely family friendly. And I remember hearing on, I was going to make another video about this, but I didn't, how when Fuller House came out on Netflix, one of the producers or directors was on NPR, and he said, this is the only unabashedly family-friendly show on TV today. And I started watching it, and it's nice, it's nostalgic back to Full House, very similar how it's, how this Mystery Science Theater is, but the thing is that for me, and when I was watching with my kids, I started feeling uncomfortable because I did not feel it was family friendly. There were a lot of things I found, maybe I'm too old-fashioned, but like a lot of things were very suggestive, very inappropriate, and then even just other things that we're not used to, like, my kids ask, why do the kids have phones? Because we're not used to, even in our communities, even the parents having smartphones is one thing, but give a little kid a smartphone, I don't know what they're thinking, I'm not used to, even though, all right, when I taught in the Hebrew school in Rock Hill, I remember the kids had phones. It boggled my mind. I don't know. Anyway, if you have Netflix, a lot of people have been tweeting, how they're bored and they're looking for. If you have Netflix, check out the new Mystery Science Theater 3000 and the old ones as well. I don't know. Maybe not everybody's a nerd like me, but I really have always been a fan of the show, and as well as the other things like Riff Tracks and Cinematic Titanic and the film crew and all that. Even that Saved by the Bell thing they made that Frank Conniff wrote, Attack of the Killer Bee movie, stuff like that. Always enjoyed it, and this is really quite fantastic and enjoyable, so I highly recommend it. All right.